Welcome back to the channel. Today we are reading Every Year on My Birthday, I Receive a Birthday Card from Someone I Don't Know. I'm pretty sure I was 6 the first time I got a birthday card in the mail. I don't remember the exact age. What I do remember is the kitchen table, a bowl of cereal that was getting soggy in front of me, and my mom walking in with this bright white envelope like she was holding something important. "Look at this," she said. "Somebody sent you mail." When you're a kid, mail feels like a grown-up thing. Bills, appointment, reminders, junk coupons. So when my mom handed it to me, I felt weirdly proud, like I'd just leveled up. My name was on the front, just my name. No last name, no return address in the corner. "Who's it from?" I asked. "Probably family," she said. "Someone's being silly," and forgot to write the rest. She said it with a smile, but the kind of smile that sticks for a second before it twitches at the edge. I tore it open. It was a generic card. Balloons and cake. Inside, in neat blue ink, were 2 words. "Happy birthday." No name. No, "From your cousin so-and-so." Just that. I remember turning it towards my mom like it had the answers printed on the back. She looked at it for a few seconds, then put it in. "See," she said, "somebody loves you. Eat your cereal." That should have been the end of it. A weird, harmless kid memory. But the next year, another envelope showed up. Same white, same neat handwriting on the front, with just my first name, same lack of return address. Inside, the words, "Happy Birthday." After the third year in a row, my mom stopped calling it cute. I caught her once staring at it. She ran a thumb over the writing like she was trying to recognize it, then flipped the envelope over like something would magically appear on the back. "Who is this from?" I asked. She jumped like I'd snuck up on her. "I told you," she said. "Probably someone in the family. Get your shoes on. We're going to Nano's." She stopped leaving the card out after that. They kept coming, though, every year, same day, same kind of card, same handwriting. When I hit middle school, they started to change. One year, the inside said, "Happy birthday. I hope you get everything you asked for." Okay, not that weird. The next year, it said, "Happy birthday. I hope your practice went well. I'm proud of you." That one made my mom go very quiet. This was around the time I had started playing basketball more seriously. I stayed late after school to shoot. We had games. Parents sat in the stands and yelled, that kind of thing. The year after that, the card said, "Happy birthday, nice job of making the team. You look strong out there." It was my first time anything in there made me feel sick. "How do they know that?" I asked my mom. She tried to brush it off, but her face gave it away. "Maybe your coach," she said, "or one of the other parents. Don't worry about it." She did, though. I heard her on the phone later that night. Not the words, just the tone, low and tight. The next day, she took the cards to the police station. She looked more frustrated than reassured. They said, "There's not much they can do," she told me. "There's no threat, no name, no nothing they can trace." They said it's probably some relative trying to be cute or an older kid being weird. "You showed them the part about the team?" I asked. "I did," she said. "They told me if there are any threats, we should come back." The next year, the card was back to simple "Happy Birthday" again. Like whoever was writing them had been told to tone it down or decided on their own to pull back a little. We moved when I was 13. My mom got a better job in another town. New house, new school, new everything. I remember standing in the driveway the week we moved in, looking at the mailbox with its fresh numbers, thinking, they don't know where I live now. I turned 14 a few months later. On the morning of my birthday, there was an envelope in the mail. Same white, same neat handwriting, with just my first name. I stared at it for a long time before looking over to my mom. "Maybe they forwarded it from the old place," she said, but we both knew that didn't make sense. Inside the card said, "Happy birthday, new house, same you." That night, my mom installed extra locks on the door. After that, the cards went quiet again. Still, every year, still on the exact day. Still, the same handwriting, but the message went back to being simple. "Happy birthday, hope you have a great day, hope you feel special." After a while, I got used to it. It became a thing that just happened. Like getting older, like the seasons changing. Once a year, a reminder would show up that somebody out there knew where I lived, how old I was, and then life would keep moving. I moved out after college into a crappy 2-bedroom house with thin walls, and a door that stuck when it rained. It was the first place that was fully mine. Old couch, secondhand TV, bed frame I built myself and nearly broke in the process. Every year a card still came. Somehow, some way, they knew my address every single time. We were at a loss. When I was 23, I met my girlfriend. Her name isn't important here. She works a regular 9 to 5. She remembers birthdays, brings snacks to movie nights, gets emotionally invested in TV shows, normal person stuff. One day, while I was leaving work, my girlfriend called me. I had given her a key, but she left it back at her parents' house. I told her I kept one spare key under the welcome mat. I know. Everyone tells you not to do that. I did it anyway. I was forgetful. I locked myself out once and had to call a locksmith. After that, the key went under the mat. Easy fix. We were getting closer, and her moving in was just a matter of time. We had been together for almost a year before I told her about the cards. It came up because my birthday was coming up again. I made some offhand joke about my mysterious card arriving on schedule. She asked me what I meant. I tried to keep it casual. Oh, it was a thing, I said. I've been getting these random birthday cards since I was a kid. No name, no return address, same handwriting every year. I expected her to laugh, or at least be curious. Instead, she went completely still. How many years? She asked. Since I was 6, I said. So a lot. And you don't know who sends them. Nope. And they always sign you, even when you move. Yeah, I shrugged. It was weird. I know my mom went to the cops, but they said it wasn't a big deal. It is a big deal, she said. That's not normal. That's stalking. Someone is keeping tabs on you. I told her she was overreacting. It wasn't like there were threats. No, I'm going to kill you messages. No dead animals on the porch. Just birthday wishes. What do they write? She asked. Most of the time, just happy birthday, I said. Sometimes something like, hope you have a great day, that kind of thing. She stared at me like I had 3 heads. We should go to the police, she said. They won't do anything, I told her. I told her they didn't when my mom went. There's nothing they're going to do now. She let it go for the moment, but I can tell she didn't like it. A few days later, she sent me a link to a doorbell camera and said, I'll split it with you. I ordered it. It felt like an easy compromise. The camera came. I set it up for a few months. It was just a nice way to see when packages arrived. I got used to checking it when I was at work, watching delivery drivers drop things off and neighbors walk their dogs. My birthday this year falls on a weekday. About a week before it, stuff started showing up. The first one was my favorite takeout, the place around the corner that does those big greasy burgers I always say I need to stop eating. The driver calls me from outside and says I'm outside with their online order, and I almost tell him he has the wrong number. I open the door, bag in hand, receipt stapled to the top, no name in the from spot, just my address, paid online. I assume it is her. I text my girlfriend a picture of the bag. You really trying to clog my arteries before my birthday? She replies a minute later. What are you talking about? The burger's still warm, fries perfect, grease soaking through the paper in the exact way I like it. No name, no little message line. You didn't send this, I type. No. Is this a bit or did someone send you food? I sit there for a second, thumb hovering over the screen. I tell her it must have been a delivery mix up or my mom or something. She sends a laughing emoji and tells me to enjoy it before they realize and take it back. 2 days later, a small box shows up, brown cardboard, no logo, my name and address printed on a label. Inside is a small stuffed dog. Stupid looking, generic, the kind you win at a carnival game. It reminds me of the way she always pointed out stuffed animals in stores and tries to convince me we need more pillows on the bed. I assume this one is her too. This time I call. Okay, so now I know you're leaning into it, I say when she picks up. Into what? She asks. The stuffed dog, I say. Trying to build up to something cute for my birthday? She laughs, confused. Babe, I didn't send you anything, she says. I've been at work all day. I'll tell her about the box, the dog, how it feels like something she would send. She goes quiet. Did it come from a company, she asked, like Amazon? Or was it just a plain box? Plain, I said. No name, no gift receipt. Maybe someone sent it and didn't put their name on it, she says. Maybe your mom? I know my mom's handwriting. I know her taste in cards. This doesn't feel like her. I tell myself it's still nothing. People get spam delivery sometimes. Companies sometimes send little birthday gifts. Address get crossed. I throw the dog on the couch. Life keeps going. The next day, flowers. I come home from work and there's this bright bouquet sitting on the doorstep. The kind that looks expensive, arranged in a glass vase with a big bow. The little plastic envelope holds a white card. I open it. Read 4 words. It's here. Can't wait. There's no name. I text my girlfriend a picture. Okay, now I know this is you. She sends back 3 messages in a row. It's not. I swear. You need to call someone. My chest tightens. I stand there in the doorway staring at the flowers for a long time. The vase sweating on my welcome mat. I call my mom. I tell her about the food, the stuffed dog, the flowers. She is quiet for a long time and then says, save everything, take pictures, keep receipts. This is too much. My girlfriend keeps texting. Call the police, please. A few minutes later, another package arrives. Smaller box, light. Inside is one of the old birthday cards. Not an exact one I recognize, just the same kind. Balloons, cake, glossary print. Inside, in the same neat blue ink, are three words, counting down now. I stare at the handwriting until my eyes blur. Deep breaths. My girlfriend texts me again. This isn't a fun story anymore, she says. This is serious. I'm scared for you. The next package comes later that night. Just around dinner time. I almost didn't open it. When the bell rings, I watch through the camera. Instead, I see the delivery driver set a box down, take a picture, and walk away. Plain brown cardboard. No logo, no return address, just my name. My address. Printed neatly. My hands are shaking. When I open it, inside is my spare key, the one from under the mat. Nothing else is in the box at first glance. Just the key, sitting in the middle. There is a note taped to the underside of the lid. Same neat handwriting, same blue ink. I check under the mat, even though I already know what I'm going to find. Nothing. My throat goes dry. The air in my house feels wrong, like I'm standing somewhere I shouldn't be, like I walked into my own place and found someone else's furniture already there. I back out the doorway and lock the deadbolt. For the first time in my life, it doesn't make me feel better. I call 911. I tell the dispatcher everything in a rush. The cards, the gift, the notes, the key. I keep expecting her to interrupt me and say, "This is fine, this is normal, I am being dramatic." She doesn't. No, I say, my voice cracks. Someone had my key. They have been leaving stuff every day. They know where I live. They've known since I was a kid. Okay, she says, I need you to leave the residence and come down to the station. Bring the key and any notes you have. We can take a report and start a file. Shouldn't somebody come here, I ask, if there's no one currently attempting to enter the residence and no immediate threat? Best thing is to come in person, she says. Do you have any transportation? I tell her I do. She tells me again to leave. Do not stay in the apartment. Bring the key. Bring the notes. I hang up and grab my wallet, my phone, my little evidence bag of cards, and slips I had piled on the table. I hesitate, then call my girlfriend. She answers. On the second ring, "Hey," she says. "Are you okay?" "No." I say. "Listen, you're at work, right?" "Yeah, why?" "I need you to do something for me," I say. "When you get off, go straight to your parents' place. Do not go to my apartment. Do not meet me here. I'll call you from the station." "What happened?" she asks. Her voice gets thin. "I'll explain later," I say. "Please, just go to your parents' house and stay the night there." She's quiet for a second. "Okay," she says. "Call me as soon as you can." I lock the door behind me, even though I know there's no point. Whatever is happening already made it inside at least once, maybe more. I walk down the stairs with the key in my pocket, feeling like I am the one who has broken into someone else's life. Right now I'm sitting in the lobby of the police station. Everything is too bright. The chairs are plastic and hard. A TV in the corner plays some daytime talk show with the volume all the way down. There's a kid with his mom filing out a lost property form. A guy arguing at the front desk about getting his car out of the impound. I am holding a clear plastic bag with a key and a stack of folded cards inside. My name has not been called yet. I have been here long enough that my legs won't stop bouncing. My phone buzzes for a second. I think it's my girlfriend or my mom. It is a notification from my video doorbell. "Motion detector at your front door." My heart drops into my stomach. For a second, all I can think of is she didn't listen. She went to the house right away. I fumble with the phone, nearly dropping it. Catch it between my hands. I tap the notification with my thumb, and live feed pops up. It's not her. A man is standing on my front step with his back to the camera. He is big, not just tall, but wide. Heavy shoulders stretch the fabric of the dark jacket. Hood up, hands at his side. He stands so still. At first, I think the feed has frozen. Then I hear him breathe. It comes through the speaker, slow, steady breaths in and out, like he's trying to calm himself down. He's angled perfectly so that the doorbell camera cannot see his face, just the side of his jaw and the porch light, the curve of his ear, the back of his head. He does not knock right away. He just stands there. "You're being quiet today," he says finally. His voice is calm, softer than I expected. A little higher, too. Not some monster movie growl, just a regular man's voice, with some cold behind it. "I know you're there," he says. "You shouldn't keep me waiting." I grip the phone so hard my fingers hurt. I look up at the front desk, but nobody is looking at me. Nobody knows what's on my screen. A man is standing outside my front door, talking to an empty house like I am in there listening. "You know what today is," he says. "My favorite day," he says. He lets that hang there. "Your birthday," he says. He lifts one hand as big enough to cover most of the doorbell housing as it moves past. The cuff of his jacket rides up, showing a wrist with pale skin and dark hair. He knocks 3 times. Each knock is slow and heavy. echoing through the tiny speaker. I can feel it in my chest like he's hitting me instead of the door. Come on, he says, a little more excited now. You're being rude. He knocks again, harder this time. Open the door, he says. It's time to celebrate. I stare at the screen. People move around me in the station. A printer whirs, someone laughs at something the clerk says. None of them can hear the man at my door. Open the door, he screams suddenly. The calm is gone. His voice cracks with something like joy. It's time to celebrate. He pounds his fist against the door. The camera shakes. The porch light flickers. He stays facing the door. He never turns around. He doesn't need to see me. In his mind, he already does. Nobody has called my name yet. He hits the door again and again and again and again. He is knocking. He is still waiting for me. I showed the desk officer the live video. He didn't interrupt me. He just watched the screen, jaw clenched, hands folded on the counter, like he was bracing himself. When it ended, he asked if it was live or a recording. I handed him my phone and told him it was live and explained the situation as quickly as I could. They dispatched units immediately to my house. They took me in a small interview room after that. No window, just a table, two chairs, and a faint humming sound I can't place. A detective came in not long after, older, calm, the kind of guy who speaks slowly, like he's careful not to spook you. I told him everything. Not just what happened that night, but everything that led up to it. Every card, every birthday, how long it's been going on, how I never told anyone because I felt it was harmless. Strange, sure, but harmless. He asked why I hadn't reported sooner. I told him my mother once did, but nothing came of it. Other than that, I didn't have a good answer. At some point, it stopped feeling like something that just happened to me and started feeling something that just had always been there, like background noise. I remember sitting alone in that room, trying not to imagine someone walking through my front door. When the detective came back, he closed the door behind him before he spoke. They didn't find anything, he said. If it weren't for that video, it'd be impossible to tell anyone was there. No signs of forced entry, no disruption on the ground outside, no footprints around the house, even near the area where the dude had been standing. The officers checked the yard, the side of the house, the area near the fence line, nothing. Inside was the exact same. No fingerprints that didn't belong there, no signs anyone had been inside recently, no evidence of tampering with the locks. One officer mentioned how clean it was. That word stuck with me. Clean. The detective told me that without anything physical to go on, there wasn't much they could do right now. He said they'd file a report, keep it on record, and to call immediately if anything else happened. I asked him if he thought I was in danger. He said it was good, I wasn't going back to the house. When I left the station, it was already getting light out. I sat in my car for a minute before starting it, just breathing, letting the adrenaline burn itself out. That was when it really hit me. If I hadn't checked my phone when I did, if I hadn't seen the notification, I called my girlfriend as soon as I pulled onto the road. I told her everything, the video, the police. I didn't try to downplay it this time. I told her exactly how scared I was. She started crying before I finished. I told her to stay where she was. She'd already gone to her parents' place after I called her the night it happened. I told her not to come back to our place. Not yet. I promised I'd explain everything again later, in person, somewhere safe. Then I told her I was going to my mom's house. She asked me if I wanted her to come with. I told her no. I didn't want anyone else walking into whatever this was. After I hung up, I tried calling my mom. No answer. I told myself she was asleep. It was early, too early. I called again. Still nothing. I sent a text asking if she was home. No response. I don't know how long I drove like that. One hand on the wheel, the other gripping my phone like it might start ringing if I held it hard enough. Every red light felt too long. Every car behind me felt too close. Somewhere between the station and my mom's house, it occurred to me that I hadn't told the detectives everything. Not because I was hiding anything, but because there were things I'd never thought to question until people started asking. I pulled into my mom's driveway just as the sun was coming down. Her car was there, lights off, curtains down. I don't remember knocking. I just remember standing on the porch listening, suddenly aware of how quiet everything was. No TV, no footsteps, no movement inside. I knocked again, harder this time. After a few seconds, the door opened just enough for her to look out at me, eyes squinting like she was trying to place me somewhere she hadn't expected. She said my name before I could say hers. The relief hit me all at once. She asked what I was doing here so early. I told her I needed to come in. I told her something happened. She stepped aside without asking any questions. She noticed my hands shaking before I did. We sat at the kitchen table. She poured me coffee I didn't think I would touch. I told her about the man at the door, about the deliveries, about the keys. I expected surprise. What I got was something else. She didn't interrupt me. She didn't question me. She didn't ask for details. She just listened, eyes fixed on the table, hands folded tightly in front of her. When I finished, she let out a long breath like she's been holding it for years. She tried to remember when the first card arrived, but couldn't, so she asked me. I told her. She nodded slowly. She asked if I ever thought about who it could be. I told her what people were saying about family, about my dad. Her head snapped up at that. She said his name quietly, like she didn't want it to linger. Then she said, "You know your father died before that, right?" I told her I knew, but the truth was, I'd never really thought about the timing. He died when I was young, an accident. That's all I ever remember being called. Something sudden, something tragic, something that happened and then stopped being talked about. She confirmed it again, gently, like she was afraid I might argue. He wasn't around for my birthdays after that. He wasn't sending cards. He wasn't watching me grow up. Wherever this was, it wasn't him. She reached across the table and took my hand. Her grip was tighter than usual. She told me she didn't think I should go back to the house yet. I told her the detective had said the same thing. They made her pause. She asked what the police had said. I told her everything they'd found, or rather, everything they hadn't. She went quiet again after that, not panicked, not emotional, just guarded. I asked her if there was anything she wasn't telling me. She looked at me for a long time before answering. She said no. But she also said she didn't think this was random. I stayed at her place for a while, long enough for the caffeine to kick in, long enough for the adrenaline to wear off. Eventually, reality crept back in. I needed clothes, my work laptop, my charger, things I didn't think to grab when I left my house in the middle of the night. My mom offered to come with me. I told her I'd be fine. I don't know why I said that. On the drive back, I kept thinking about the way the offers described the house. Clean, I parked down the block instead of in the driveway. The house looked exactly the same as it did when I left. No lights on, no movement, no sign anyone had been there at all. For a moment, I wondered if I had imagined the whole thing. I walked up the path, eyes scanning the yard, the porch, the door, the welcome mat that was slightly crooked. I know that doesn't sound like much, but I always kept it straight. I knelt down to fix it. That's when I saw what was underneath. I stood there for a second, hands still on the edge of the welcome mat. The house was quiet, no cars passing, no neighbors outside. I crouched down, straightened the mat. It resisted slightly. That's when I lifted it up. There was a folded piece of paper underneath, pressed flat against the concrete. It wasn't damp, it wasn't curled at the edges. It hadn't been there long enough to collect dust or moisture. It had been placed. My first thought was that the police had missed it. But that didn't make sense. They'd stood on the porch. One of them had to lean against the door while the other checked the frame. If it had been earlier, someone would have seen it, which meant it had been put there after. I unfolded it just enough to see my name. My phone rang. The sound startled me so bad I nearly dropped both the note and my phone. I didn't check the screen. I assumed it was my mom or my girlfriend calling to ask if I made it inside okay. I answered immediately. Hello? There was nothing on the other end. No static, no background noise, just an open line. For a second, I thought the call had dropped. I pulled the phone away from my ear and looked at the screen. The call was still connected, but it was an unknown number. I raised it back to my ear. Still nothing. Then he spoke. "I see you found it." The voice was calm, order, male, not rushed, not excited, like he'd waited. He knew I was listening. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My mouth felt dry, like it had been stuffed with cotton. There was a pause after that long enough to feel deliberate. "You shouldn't have involved anyone else," he said. Not angry, not threatening, just corrective. The way someone talks when you've made a mistake, they expected you to know better to make. "That compliments things," he said. My heart was pounding, hard enough that I could feel it in my throat. I asked him who he was, but the words came out weak, like I wasn't sure I was allowed to ask. He didn't answer. Instead, he said, "You won't do that again." It was framed as a warning. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't tell me what would happen if I did. He said it the way someone states a fact they considered settled. There was another pause. I waited for him to say more, for an explanation, for anything that would make it make sense. He didn't. The call ended. No click, no dial tone, just gone. I stood there on the porch with my phone still pressed to my ear, staring at the note in my other hand, suddenly aware of how exposed I was, how long I'd been standing here, how easily it would have been for someone to watch me without being seen. I didn't read the rest of the note. I didn't go inside. I got back in my car and drove. That was days ago. Since then, I haven't gone back to the house. I've been bouncing between hotels, sleeping with the lights on, keeping my phone on silent unless I'm expecting a call. I've turned off anything that tracks my location. I haven't told anyone where I am unless I absolutely had to. I keep replaying that call in my head. Not what he said, but how certain he sounded. I went to the police because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Someone crosses a line. Now I'm not sure there ever was a line. That's why I'm writing this now. Because whatever this is didn't end that night. And I don't think it's ever been as far in the past as I've convinced myself it was. Something about the way my mom had been acting didn't sit right with me. It wasn't just what she said, it was what she didn't say. The way she went still whenever my father was mentioned, the way she answered questions with reassurance instead of details, the way she kept trying to move past things like they were already settled. The mention of my father had felt like flipping a switch I didn't know existed. Her reaction wasn't confusion or grief, it was shock, sharp and immediate, like I'd stumbled on something she'd spent years making sure stayed buried. I tried to tell myself I was overthinking it. I'd been doing a lot of that lately. Every shadow felt longer, every sound felt intentional. I was bouncing between hotel, keeping my head down, trying to blend into the background, like that would somehow make me harder to find. But I couldn't shake the feeling that it didn't matter, that he was still watching, not following, not chasing, just observing, patient, the way he'd always been. The longer I sat with it, the more obvious it became that there were pieces of this I didn't have. Something that explained why the cards started when they did, why they never stopped, why my mom reacted the way she had all those years ago, and again, now. I knew she had answers I didn't. I knew she wasn't going to volunteer them after a few days minimum contact with anyone in my life. No visits, no explanations, just short texts so people knew I was still breathing. I finally caught her. She answered on the second ring. Are you okay? She asked immediately. I almost said yes out of habit. Instead, I said, I need to talk to you again. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Not long, just long enough to feel deliberate. About what? She asked. You know what, I said. Another pause. Then she said, come over. I arrived at my mom's house, and before I could knock, she was already opening the door. She looked tired, not sleepy, worn down, like someone who'd been bracing herself for something. She stepped aside without saying anything. I walked straight to the dining room and sat down, same chair I'd sit in 1,000 times growing up, the same view of the kitchen doorway. She didn't sit right away. She hovered near the counter, hands resting on the edge, like she needed something solid to hold on to. Mom, I said, what the fuck is going on? She closed her eyes for a second. Am I missing a piece here? I asked. Do you know something? It's complicated, she said. That's not an answer, I said. Not anymore. She finally sat across from me, folded her hands, unfolded them, folded them again. You spoke about your father, she said carefully. That day, you caught me off guard. You don't look surprised, I said. You look scared. Her jaw tightened. He wasn't a good man, she said. I waited. She glanced towards the hallway like she was expecting someone else to be standing there, listening. Then she looked back at me. He wasn't always bad, she said, but he wasn't safe. Not for me, not for you. There were nights I slept with you in my arms on the couch. She continued, because it was quieter there. It was easier to hear him coming. My stomach twisted. I called the police, she said. More than once. You were still a baby. That was the first thing she said that felt like a crack instead of a shield. They came every time, I asked. She nodded. Usually the same officer, she said. I didn't ask for that. It just happened that way. I leaned forward. What officer? He was always calm, she said instead. He talked about your father outside, told him to cool off, told him how to go for a drive, and he always did. She paused, then added quietly, that scared me too. What? Why? I asked. Because your father didn't listen to anyone, she said, except him. I didn't like where this was going. One night, she continued, after he'd left the office, stayed longer than he was supposed to, I looked down without meaning to. He told me I didn't deserve to live like that. She said that my baby didn't deserve it either. My hands clenched. He gave me his card. She said, not the department one, his personal number. He told me to call if I ever needed anything, even if I was scared and didn't know why yet. I swallowed. And you did? I said. She nodded. At first, it was just reassurance. And you did? I said. She nodded. At first, it was just reassurance, she said. He'd check in sometimes. He'd stop by without being dispatched, just to make sure we were okay. Her voice got quieter. And then I started seeing him places, she said. The grocery store, the gas station, the bank. My chest tightened even more. You thought it was a coincidence? I said. I wanted to believe so, she said. She rubbed her hands together like she was cold. There was a night when your father left drunk, she said. He said things he couldn't take back. I didn't know if he'd come back angrier or not at all. I was scared. She looked at me then. Really looked at me. I called the police, she said. I didn't even finish explaining, and he showed up. The room felt smaller. He told me to lock the doors. He told me he'd find him before he came back. My heart started pounding, and she didn't answer right away. He came back later. Not your father, the officer. I held my breath. He told me there'd been an accident. A single car lost control, died on impact. I stared at her. That's what the report said. She quickly added, That's what everyone said. My ears were ringing. You never questioned it, I said. She looked away. I was relieved, she said, and ashamed of being relieved. The silence stretched. Then I asked a question I hadn't wanted to ask since the beginning. Mom, I said, my voice barely steady. When did the card start? She didn't answer. Mom, when? Her eyes filled, but she didn't cry. A few months later, on your birthday, she said, the room felt like it tilted. And you didn't stop them, I said. I thought they were from family at first, your grandmother or a distant relative, she whispered. I didn't put it together until I got the next few. I thought he was just checking in, making sure you were okay, making sure we were okay. I stood up. Did you ever tell him to stop? I asked. She hesitated. That wasn't enough. I stayed standing. After the card started, did you ever speak to him again? My mom looked confused. No. Why would I? When you went to the police, did you actually go, or did you go to him? That was the only time, she said. I didn't file the report. I asked to speak to him directly. I told him the cards needed to stop. He told me they were harmless, that he was just checking in. She hesitated, then added, and for a long time he was telling the truth. I thought about all those quiet years, the simple cards, no message, no escalation, just presence. He told me families look different sometimes, but people watch out for each other in their own ways. My throat felt tight. He promised he'd never cross a line. He said he understood boundaries, and you believed him? I looked around the room, at the same walls that had watched me grow up, at the table where I'd eaten breakfast before school, at the place that was supposed to be safe. When did you stop believing him? I asked. She didn't answer right away. When you called me about the deliveries, she said finally. That landed harder than expected. I thought it was just birthdays, she said. I thought it was just nostalgia, a reminder. I didn't think it was active. Active? I nodded slowly. That was when it clicked. Not all at once. Not like a revelation in a movie, just a quiet alignment of things that suddenly made sense. The timing, the shift from cards to gifts, the way everything escalated after I stopped being alone. She moved in. I didn't say it out loud. I didn't need to. You didn't do anything wrong, she said quickly. You were a child. I was scared. He helped us when no one else did. That didn't make this okay. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I froze. So did she. I pulled it out slowly, already knowing what it would be. No call, no text, just notification. Motion detected. I tapped it. There she was, my girlfriend, standing on my front step, slipping her key into the lock like any other day. Like nothing was wrong. My heart slammed in my ribs. My mom's face drained to color. My phone rang. It was my girlfriend. I answered immediately. What are you doing at the house? I said. What? You told me to come. No, I didn't, I said. I'm at my mom's. I never told you to go anywhere. There was a pause on the line. I got a text from you, she said. You said you needed me. You said it was important. My stomach dropped. It wasn't me. Listen to me. You need to leave right now and call the police. I don't understand. You're freaking me out. Listen to me. I need you to leave the house right now. There was a pause. My mom was shaking beside me, whispering my name over and over like she could pull me back from something just by saying it. Trust me, I said. Please get out. Go to your car. I heard her move the phone away from her ear. Hold on, she said. Someone's knocking. My heart sunk. I hear footsteps, the soft sound of her moving across the living room, then a faint creak of the door. She went quiet. It was the police, she said, her voice already lightly relieved. There's a cop outside. I felt sick. Do not open that door. I'm serious. I didn't speak fast enough. I heard the deadbolt slide. The door opened. Hi. Can I help you? Her voice sounded normal, polite, and calm. I could hear a man speak through the phone. Now close and clear. Evening, ma'am. Sorry to bother you. We got a call about a possible disturbance in the area. Just doing a welfare check. My mom covered her mouth. That's weird. Everything's fine. Yeah. The man said, That's usually the case. Mind if I ask you a couple questions? Tell him to leave, I said, right now. She didn't hear me. No problem, she said. There was a brief pause. Not silence. Consideration. And you're here alone? Yes. Well, I mean, I was just on the phone with my boyfriend. That's okay, he said easily. You can keep talking. I don't want to interrupt. I recognized the cadence immediately. Not the words, the rhyme. The way he placed his pauses. The way he sounded like someone who was used to listening to people talk. Could you step back inside for me? I don't like standing in doorways. A safety thing. I felt my vision tunnel. Don't. Please don't move. She hesitated. Is something wrong? No. He said everything's fine. She stepped back. The door closed. I hear the lock turn. I hear footsteps now, heavy, controlled. Then his voice again, closer to the phone. You have a nice place. You take good care of him. What? She asked, confused. I've been watching him grow up, longer than you know him. My mouth went dry. There was a pause. Then my girlfriend laughed nervously. I think you have the wrong. There was silence. The man spoke again, softer this time. I couldn't hear what was being said. Then the line went dead. I didn't hang up right away. I stood there, with my phone pressed to my ear, listening to nothing. Like the silence might change if I waited long enough. And my body caught up to my brain. I grabbed my keys and was out the door before my mom could say my name. My phone rang halfway there. It was her. I answered immediately. Are you okay? Where are you? I left, she said quickly. I'm not at the house anymore. The relief hit me so hard, my vision blurred. He told me to go. The officer, he said he was a family friend. He said he'd heard about what's been going on and thought it would be best if I stayed somewhere else tonight. My stomach tightened and twisted. He said he was glad everyone was safe. He told me not to worry. I swallowed. That wasn't just a police officer, I said. There was a pause. What? That wasn't who he said he was. Listen to me. I need you to go home. Not my place. Yours. Lock the doors. Call the police and tell them every detail. You're scaring me. I know. I'm sorry. I gave her the quickest explanation I could. She seemed distraught, but she understood now. We hung up. My phone rang again, almost immediately. Unknown numbered. I stared at it until it stopped ringing. Then it rang again. I answered. His voice was calm, almost pleasant. You should be grateful. I didn't have to let her leave. My heart was pounding so hard, I could hear it in my ears. She could have had an accident. People do it all the time, especially when they're scared. I couldn't form words. My mind was moving too fast. I just wanted to celebrate, he said. That's all it was ever supposed to be. I didn't respond. The house where you grew up? First place you ever got a card? You remember where it is? I do. It's empty now. I've been fixing up. Thought it'd be nice. Just us, like family. I told him to fuck off. He laughed softly. You don't have a choice. If you don't show up, I'll make some phone calls. I'll find evidence that your mother wasn't as innocent as everyone thinks. My grip tightened the phone. And if that doesn't work, I know exactly where your girlfriend's parents live. He recited the address perfectly, without hesitation. I'll see you soon. I'm sure you're already on your way. Pulled the car over and sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. Then I turned around. I'm posting this now because it's the last moment I have to do it on my own terms. If I don't come back, at least someone will know why. And that is the end of the current updated series. I hope you enjoyed, my friends.